That's a good delivery from Botham. It's his 5th wicket. 5 wickets again. Tremendous performance for a young fellow to come into a test side and in successive test matches take 5 wickets in an innings.
Let's get away from Australia for a moment and take you to your first Test 100 against New Zealand. That was in Christchurch, and it was only just after you'd finished the Australian series.
Yeah, we actually lost, I think, the first test in that series and went to the second one at Christchurch. And I remember I had a good partnership with Bobby Taylor, and I ran him out on 49. Well, actually, Bob, I always say it was Bob's fault, because if he'd run straight, he'd have got in, but he, for some reason, went across the pitch and was out by a yard. But yeah, I can remember that test well. We actually fought back and won it well in the end.
Did you ever run Boyks out?
Yeah, that game.
I seem to remember there's a story about that.
Yeah, well, we were deciding the second innings. We just narrowly avoided making New Zealand follow on. We used to make Australia follow on those days as well. But we just narrowly avoided making New Zealand follow on. So the lads were a little bit down, and we still had a day and a half to go. And the wicket wasn't as good as it could have been. So we decided we'd go out and throw the bat for the session or session and a half that was left, and see if we could get a lead of about 350, and have a go at New Zealand the following day to get back in the series. And so that was the tactics. We'd go out, throw the bat. When Boyks went out, and he played absolutely magnificently. He was about 10 not out after 20 overs. Yeah, get past that, you know, playing really well here. And we decided that, some of the senior players decided that he ought to be run out, which I thought was a great idea until I realised I was the next guy in to bat. So I got the job. And
was it come one?
Yes, I got him halfway down, then said no. And the last thing I can remember Jeff saying to me as he walked by me was, "What have you done? What have you done? You've run me out. What about me average?" Words to that effect.
The word sacrifice didn't float down the pitch, did it?
No, actually I couldn't look at him. I was cracked up. I had to go for a walk around the back of the umpire.
All right, you've played against Australia and the other down-under team, New Zealand, and then suddenly you're back here against Pakistan. I've seen performances. It was great to see a young all-round.
To get that reward set up quite a dramatic victory, and we bowled India out for 81, and that was my first success against the Indian.
Then against England, you turned in a magnificent performance in the 77-78 season. It was a fantastic match because it was the first time New Zealand had beaten England in 48 matches, and that went way back to 1929-30, and it was your bag of 10.
A very historical match for New Zealand cricket and for me personally. In fact, Geoffrey Boycott captained England at that time. Unfortunately for Mike Brady, he broke a hand, I think it was, in Australia. So Boycott had the honour of leading England, which I guess he's always wanted to do. And I think he was certainly the first losing English captain against New Zealand. But quite a historical match in the sense that England only had to get 130 odd to win that particular match. And because we'd blown out badly in our second innings, and I remember lying there after batting and not getting too many runs, rather frustrated and disappointing that I thought that the game was over. And as we walked down the steps onto the field, the crowd were booing us, they were jeering us, they said, "Oh, you've wasted an opportunity." New Zealand crowds, would you believe? And there we have it. They didn't give us a lot of support, and Richard Collins and myself bowled flat out for 2 hours, that last 2-hour session, and we reduced England to something like 54 for 8 at stumps. And next morning we mopped it up pretty quickly, even though there's a little bit of rain that may have deprived us, but we got going again and bowled them out, I think, for 64.
That's exactly the delivery that Richard Hadley had to bowl to Root. Let's have a look at it again. Hadley bowling the ball up outside the off stump, and Root not getting his feet into position, playing away from the body, getting the outside edge, and Warren Lee's taking a very fine catch behind the stumps in his right hand. And he's looked at that one, it's going to be out. Right down. Richard Hadley. Old 9 facing Richard Hadley with England 6 down for 53. Confident appeal, and he's gone! Yet another wicket for New Zealand. Hadley to Hendrick. That's out! John Parker at second attempt has caught Mike Hendrick at first slip, and England lose their 8th wicket. 8 for 53. What a find, that's the one they wanted. Phil Edmonds, Richard Hadley pitching that ball up, and Edmonds hanging the bat and the ball. A simple catch to John Parker at first slip.
Well, that's not too pleased about all this, that he's being assaulted. Well, sauce for the goose. Again a stab, and he's gone. That's the wicket that's wanted. Taken by... The stumps are going right, left and centre.
That was the last test played at the Basin Reserve for quite some time. They did their redevelopment things then. But you had a tour of England and 3 test matches almost immediately after that great victory on that